Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 51 of the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Geoff, and alongside me as always is Max and Craig. Max and Craig, what's going on, guys? Awesome, so it's going to be a short show. It's a little different. Thank you for coming in after homecoming. This is the homecoming after party. We'll talk about that in just a moment, as well as a different array of things going on. But without further ado, Craig, why don't you take it over? We'll hit by the numbers, and we'll go into what the show is going to be a little bit.
So, yes, it's me. It's the MIC, Craig Aiken, Mr. Impact for the TNAIW channel. As if you didn't know already, you can find us here, you can find us there, you can find us everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Sounder, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcast. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to us on YouTube. Also, drop us a follow on Twitch to help us on the path to affiliate. Shout out to Lucha for taking over for me for last week. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
things
Lucha.
would have gone right. But, yeah, and of course, just do the whole thing. You know what to do by now. Thank you for everyone new coming, joining us. As you can see, the numbers are down there.
Well, over there, you can't see. Yeah, so we're down in numbers, obviously a little bit, and obviously alluding to that, I'd like to think the numbers were down, would have calculated and gained right before we would have done this normally live at 7:30. But we are doing this on a pre-tape, so you guys have something to watch right after homecoming. Since I was in person, I know the results and kind of the vibe of everything, but obviously it's going to be different on TV, so we'll definitely have some even more detailed results the following week and how that plays out on Access TV. But yeah, as I said, everything's either steadily up or below just on the plays. But Twitch is 3 away from getting us our affiliate. We're up 1 towards our goal of 200 for Slammiversary. And Twitter, as always, you guys are rocking it. We're meeting a lot of cool people and a lot of people that we met at the event of Slammiversary and tapings afterwards. And we're keeping in touch and gaining in our TNAIW chat, which... obviously, since we're not live, unfortunately, they will not be here as the heart and soul of this program. So that blank little thing in the middle will remain blank. But we're going to make it quick. No game afterwards. Just have to give you something. I'm sure if you're listening to this right after, you're ready for bed. So without further ado, and power rankings as well. As you saw, the intro got a little bit of a refresh. Logo the previous week there. Power rankings will be next, and we're going to move on to phase 2 of our development here, and the things we're trying to do here at TNAIW. All right, Craig, let's go right into hot topics. Get this party started.
Yep, so time for the hot topics. Going straight in with the homecoming results. The X-Division Championship was defended as Josh Alexander defeated Black TAURUS. Deonna Purrazzo's partner in the homecoming tournament turned out to be the Drama King, formerly known as Aiden English, who defeated Alicia Edwards and Hernandez. Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona defeated the Pump family. Steve Macklin proceeded to attack Peter Williams after the match. Tommy Dreamer and Rachel Ellering defeated the team of Brian Myers and his partner, Missy Hyatt. Decay defeated Tasha Steelz and Fowler Flavor. In the semi-finals, we had Deonna Purrazzo and the Drama King defeating Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. Decay beat Tommy Dreamer and Rachel Ellering in the second semi-final. Before we got to the final, we had Dina defeating Willie Mack after an interference from Eric Young. Eddie Edwards defeated W. Morrissey in a hardcore match. And in the finals of the homecoming tournament, we had Deonna Purrazzo and the Drama King defeating Decay. Geoff, as you were there in person, what were your thoughts and feelings, and how did the show go in general?
Yeah, no, I hope it came off that way on TV or Impact Plus, that everyone was hyped because it wasn't, not to take away from that lineup. It's a really cool lineup. I actually was talking to people on YouTube Thursday, during Impact that were saying, hey, I signed up for Impact Plus just to watch this one coming up. So I thought that was a really cool attention getter, that they're doing these more of a themed idea compared to just trying to shove some feuds together and ending them quickly or before they needed to be ended. So very little storyline continuity here. So when they taped it and it was all over the place, they would change the apron, they changed the logo, but we didn't, unless you were writing it down, I don't know what it looks like, or excuse me, if you're taping it, I don't know what it looks like, and if you wrote it down, I couldn't tell you the order. So we might be wrong on that. But as far as the results go, I think the right people won. I think you could make a play for anyone. I thought they took care of Decay really well. They took care of the other groups and how they lost, which I liked. Tasha was a weird. I'm very interested to see how that comes across on TV. No spoilers, but obviously Kiera leaves eventually. We know that, right? So I don't know if she was heel or we were just all confused because it happened after what I would assume is Kiera leaving the company. That part was shot. So it was just all weird vibe there. I want to see how that came across. I do want to see how the He Softcore chant, obviously we started that, and you can see us little goobers over there are saying that, they're cheering that to him, and he does some pelvic thrusts. I want to see if that came out on camera. Obviously, if you guys are watching this or listening to this, you've already seen it. And if you haven't, obviously I'm giving away some spoilers, but please still tune in because if it was anything like it was in person, it was a great show. The one other thing, let's see, that I want to mention. I know I mentioned the boot mark, little Easter egg there. The boot mark that's been on Morrissey's under his arm for the past 2 episodes of Impact happened tonight. Well, tonight at Homecoming. Once again, out of order. But yeah, from top to bottom, and oh, Jesus. All right, last one. I love the Road Warrior wink there with Tommy. I know a lot of people that are normally not excited about Tommy wrestling were it was over in the actual Impact Zone, which I was happy with because, like I said before, we weren't there to steal the show or become the show. The goal was to add to it, and if Tommy's the face, that's what you should be doing, is cheering. But then again, you pay money, you could do whatever the hell you want. But the one thing I do want to mention is now that I could actually say it out loud, the banger that I've been alluding to at Homecoming, obviously, Josh Alexander defending successfully his X Division championship against Black Taurus, and it was so fucking good that he lost a horn during the match. I cannot wait to see that on Homecoming, or if you guys already seen it, I hope you agree with me. Give us a thumbs up if you do. So, yeah, are there any questions on in-person thoughts when it came to that, or are we good to move on?
I mean,
so you were saying with the talk show, so obviously we know that Kira's leaving because it was announced. We talked about it last episode. So you said, so basically the part that you think is her final thing with Tasha was filmed before this. So that is a little weird that they would shoot it in that order. The only thing
I will say about the tapings, besides the lack of water or concession stand, you
didn't save your drinks from
I gave those
Slammiversary? They gave you 3 drinks. I
drink the water, none of that food coloring. That was the only thing I would say, not gripe wise, but like confusion, especially for the fans that were there. I'll spin it a different way. It's probably easier for the fans that came that were from Nashville that had just like wrestling. You know what I mean? Because they just go along with what everyone else is doing, or they know that guy's a good guy or that one's a bad guy. But for us who were there each day, it was like I don't know what to do. So I hope that doesn't play off as that, because Follow really was one of the highlights. I even put that on our Twitter, and he was kind enough to quote tweet it for us. But one of the greatest parts about the taping was just seeing how positive and funny of a vibe and energy that Fala gives off. He was doing the Sure Shuffle on the way to the ring, I think. Obviously, you saw that on the last episode because we were cheering Sure Shuffle. And I don't know if that's why, but he came out doing it, and me and Lucha, we lost it, but that was great. And he just overall, man, it was a good vibe with him there, and I hope it didn't come across as we weren't cheering for Fala. We just had no clue what the hell was going on, essentially. And there's my cat trying to take down the Virtuosa.
Yeah. So you didn't know whether to keep up the continuity of the TV show.
And that was only like one instance, so I can't complain whatsoever. Like I even said, the parking lot brawl. I don't know if I said it on air or the last take or whatever. That happened. I can't remember if it was right after this match or where it was. Maybe it wasn't. I feel like it was though, because Eddie's bleeding on the shoulder there. I'll have to take a look, but yeah. So there was some continuity things that we were trying to keep up with for the sake of the show, and I hope it just didn't come off odd, I guess.
I'll be furious if no one has a video of that. You guys following Eddie out to the parking lot. I'll be furious if no one has a video.
There's got to
be
some people.
Send it to me.
I mean, yeah, there has to be someone. Eli or somebody. Somebody had to get it.
Yeah, someone has to have taken it.
In this world, if no one has a video,
that's fair enough. Yeah, I was standing. Oh man, mark out moment. So I always say this. I said this on the last show, and I'll say it here. I have a very anxiety is rough, being bipolar and stuff. But I'll take care of it. And as I grow older, I find ways to do it. But one time when I thought I had it together, and we were doing our Super Kick Wrestling podcast, which was the previous show we used to do about all wrestling. Shout out to Mickey James and Kimberly. Hey, 2 people on the Impact roster that did her. And Davey Richards. And Matt Sydal. Well, he's no longer. Anyways, memories. But yeah, so long story short, I thought I was like, you know what? I have some friends that are wrestlers. Obviously not big, but I'm cool. I'm a mature adult now. And Roman Reigns, I know this is a TNA one, so I'll mention that. Obviously, Round the Truth Killings was there. Jack Swagger, and one of the Usos was there. I can't remember who. I apologize to him. The one, they were carpooling, so it doesn't matter who it was, which Uso was. So anyways, they come in, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go up to him and just say, man, guys, I respect your privacy, but they were at our bar that I was managing, so I just wanted to say, hey guys, whatever. And I was just they're like, oh, cool, man. Yeah, okay, thanks. Unfortunately, it was the day before Roman got popped for the drug test, but and it was his birthday. But anyways, I was so awkward, and I've always had that like whatever in me since, and that fucking thing sprung up again. We were in the parking lot. Jimmy Jacobs was there, obviously the producer for that match, the parking lot one. And he's standing there, and I say, is that Jimmy? Is that Jimmy? I can't tell. But I see it's shiny, his and I just tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, I'm going to say something. And then he finally turns, and I'm like, and I just, oh my God. Totally. I don't know why. I don't know why. I thought I was old enough. If you come on the show, Jimmy Jacobs, I might talk to you, or I might hide. Who knows? But either way, I marked out. I was in the treehouse too. That's fair enough. Anyways, okay, let's move on to number 2. Enough reminiscing. But yeah, overall, Homecoming, a nice. I don't know if I mentioned, but I want to make this point. I like the fact that these in-between pay-per-views, obviously we call them in-between pay-per-views because Slammiversary is big, Bound for Glory is the next big thing for us, right? Emergence is coming too, but those kind of have continuity things. I like them to throw in some kind of one-night only like thing like this. Now, they do run with the gimmick, I believe, with Virtuosa and the Drama King, crowns and all. No spoiler, but yeah, I like the fact. So this makes me feel like, okay, maybe next taping there could be a old school TNA one or a King of the Mountain show or something like that. Yeah. And I really dig that.
So moving on to number 2. Obviously we've all heard it, we've all seen it. CM Punk and Daniel Bryan reportedly heading to AEW. Should Impact be concerned about anything, whether it be AEW moving further out ahead, or where do you think this leaves the partnership between Impact and AEW if it is true and Bryan and Punk do sign? Max?
I mean, in terms of like AEW moving further out ahead, I mean, realistically, Impact's never going to catch them or really come close to them until they get themselves on a major network. I mean, it's TNT USA, Fox are just easier to watch than Access. It's just that simple. But I don't think they should be super concerned about the partnership because I don't think, even with Bryan and Punk, I don't think AEW is going to turn around and just kill their partnership with New Japan. As long as they have a partnership with New Japan, I think they're going to have some type of partnership with Impact because New Japan has a partnership with Impact. So it makes sense for them to do other stuff. You heard Moxley talking about his partner against the Good Brothers. I don't know who it is. Some people have speculated it could be Sammy. It would make sense. They tagged like previously, so you have that connection to where they're working together. The Good Brothers, unless you completely flip Kenny into a face, they're still going to be associated with him there. So I don't think it's really going to impact them. Obviously, AEW is going to do their thing with Punk and Daniel Bryan. But I actually think this could be a situation where it could actually lead maybe not to more Impact people going to AEW, but more AEW people coming over to Impact. And the reason why I said it is because when you add more people, and not just random mid-carders, but guys who are going to command a lot of time on those shows, Punk and, I mean, there's a possibility that either Punk or Bryan come in and are the ones who beat Kenny Omega for his title. But if you do that, they're going to command a lot of shows. Or a lot of time. They're going to be put into big programs, and that's going to take some guys who may have been mid card or upper mid card and push them down. Obviously, we know that Bray Wyatt was also released from WWE. If he ends up coming to AEW, similar type thing. So I think it could lead to a situation where, and we'll talk about him next, obviously, but where someone like Kazarian or other type guys who may have moved down end up coming over to Impact, and it gives them more time to do, gives them more screen time. It gives them something to do where AEW just doesn't have the time for them. So I wouldn't be really concerned. I just think it's, as AEW continues to grow, I'm hoping that they realize the best thing for them is to work with multiple promotions and not turn into WWE where you say it's us versus the world.
I honestly be okay if they had that mindset because it would be the wrong one. Obviously, pro wrestling. So when it comes to does their success affect me negatively or anything? No, good for them. Would I have preferred CM Punk and Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson to come to Impact? Well, duh. But yeah. Let's call it a spade here. All right, we've said it before, and I admitted I was wrong originally. I think right when we first started the show, we had seen that Anthem had that family, the Asner family had money in the billions or whatever it was, and he's still way more wealthy than any of us. But we just don't have the capital that AEW has, and that's not profit right now. That's out of their own pockets, being billionaires and having the money to do that. For a company that was as small as we were and then in a hole as big as we were, we're in a good place. And if we stop focusing, not us, but the narrative online, because it continues to this day, I think we were just seeing the argument of why is AEW still an Impact? They're not helping the ratings. They're not doing... Okay, look, first of all, until we all understand ratings, let's not speak on the ratings because there's a lot more that matters. Do they matter in the grand scheme of things? Yeah, of course it would be nice to have 1 million plus in a 0.07 or whatever it is in the key demographic because that's where advertiser money comes from. But at the same time, Impact's numbers that are only released for Access TV, not the +3s, not the +7s, not excluding how the Nielsen ratings work, because yes, they work for the same way for everybody else, not the online potential we have with the YouTube and the Impact Plus app as well. So there's a lot of ways, and I feel like a broken record when we talk about this. The ratings, put that aside. The goal for us is to put the best show forward, okay? Because like Max is saying, yeah, they're creating more shows and they're gaining more talent, but if I'm Aleister Black or Malachi Black and, I thought this was my opportunity to whatever, and he's big enough to where I think he'll stick out, or say Miro, whoever it may be. And hey, okay, well, we're going to need you on Rampage nights, but you're going to be more of a Rampage guy than a Dynamite. Eventually, now it doesn't mean this year or next year, But at some point, people are going to say, damn, it's just kind of like WWE. I made my money. It's a little chiller. I'm treated better. But there comes a time when I want creativity in my art form. And like I've always said, Impact is the artist's wrestling company. And that's how I feel. So with the whole Bray Wyatt thing Domenica mentioned, if he goes to there instead of here, I think it makes too much sense for him to go to AEW. Unfortunately, Dark Order's there, and he could play off of the Brody thing. Rest in peace. But, of course, I want him to take care of himself first. But if he were to come to Impact, come on, man. If he was the leader of Decay, wouldn't that be some shit? And I like to think that he's such a creative guy that we're an option. But back to the thing. One doesn't cross off the other, and that's what people have to understand as well. One, this is my first answer, like I said, was we have to stop wasting our time on AEW and tearing them down or trying to prove ourselves to them and just start building our core and start building our fan base and inviting people in that are interested with Impact, one, and not care about what AEW is doing. And then two, the realization that I don't know how to put it in a nice way. We're just not ever going to be number two in the next decade. It's just not going to happen. And that's the only way I think that happens is if AEW either fucks up or gains on WWE and we somehow beat WWE. And there's nothing wrong with that. We've been a small company for as long and the underdog for as long as I've known. We're the ECW to their WCW and WWF.
I agree with the ECW thing, and here's the thing. Unfortunately, ECW fucked up when they tried to get bigger than what they should have been.
Too fast.
And obviously they ran out of money. Yeah. So we should look at ECW and outside of obviously paying people. They want to do that. Don't take that model from ECW of not paying your wrestlers. But you're going to bring in guys. You're going to develop them, and they're going to leave. But then you're going to have your core guys that you bring in, you develop, and they're like, you know what? I like it here. I want to stay. And then that's what you have to do. You have those guys. And really, if you are the feeding ground for NXT and AEW, that's not a bad place to be, because what that's going to tell younger talent is, if I want to get to the big leagues, or the next level and make more money, go to Impact. And then maybe some of those guys stay around and say, you know what? I like Impact. But, I mean, the things that Impact's doing, they have Jay White. Jay White hasn't been on AEW. They have Chris Bay is a part, or appears to be becoming a part of Bullet Club. That's based off of Chris Bay just being good. They aren't recruiting people from AEW. So Impact has things going for it, and they just have to continue to focus. Like you said, sure, the owners are billionaires, but if you're a smart business person, the first thing you're going to do is try and get yourself out of the red into the black. Once you're making money, then you can start looking at ways to expand. But you can't just keep running negative, because eventually that's puts you.
Well, what I was saying is I don't believe us to be billionaires. From looking into it, we don't have that money, or they don't. Our parent company doesn't have the money to do the craziness that they're doing. Obviously, they're going to spend on things that they think make sense, but that plays into what you're saying, which is we're playing the game and waiting for our time to strike. Compared to ECW, and where we're sacrificing X to not pay our guys on time so we could get Y in here. You know what I mean? So I think we're doing it the right way. There was always a 5-year plan. We can't let that change based on the fact that CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, who both wish they came to Impact. I want to get that out first, but disclaimer, no matter what, they are still in their 40s. Okay? Could they have a good 5-year run, 8-year run? Yeah, why not? Daniel does have an injury thing. So there's a lot of things that we're not ready for that AEW is. They have the TV deal, they have the capital. They're breaking even allegedly, but investing in different things. Good for them. They're trying to get it all going now. And they're capitalizing on a fan base that will buy Cody's turds if they painted it and put it on a plaque. So good for them. Make their money, do what they could do, Let them have their success. And if you're a true Impact fan, it does not matter what number we are in the ratings or this or that. It matters about making it the best product we possibly can. And how can you do that? Buy tickets to the show, go cheer, bring signs, buy their merchandise. There are things you can do instead of worrying about AEW canceling out the positives of Impact Wrestling.
And if we're looking at a positive for not bringing in Bryan and Punk, the storyline that they're in right now, obviously with Kenny as the champion, the person who unseats him really needs to be an Impact guy. If you bring in Punk or Bryan, those guys they're big enough names that you end up pushing down your own guys, Moose,
right.
Bay, Alexander, to put those guys over. And if that would happen, that would be a mistake for Impact. So I think, in the long run, this is the long-term booking of this whole Kenny Omega thing. The smart thing is to push your own people.
We're not going to get burned.
Yeah, just before we move on, I feel like people are trying to, looking at AEW, looking at WA, they're doing this, they're doing that. Then people turn to Impact and say, well, why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing it? Anthem had to start from the very bottom to get to where they are now. That's fucking impressive. Regardless of what you think of Impact from the past. In fact, Anthem and all those people started from scratch because TNA was dead. They revived it and made Impact out of that. Don't try and compare. Impact are doing their own thing, and they're amazing at what they do. You can't take that away from them.
It's become must-see TV. Outside of the people online who anything Impact does, they shit on it. Those people are idiots. But the more I see on Reddit and stuff like that, people are saying the two shows that they have to watch every week are Dynamite and Impact. You have to tune in. It's good. People are talking about how good the shows have been, and it's people who are coming around. They're AEW fans who are watching Impact and saying, this is really good product. So I do think they are slowly gaining fans. But like you said, it's hard to tell because you don't know the Twitch, YouTube, or the
revenue.
App. Or I don't know. I watch it through Sling TV. I don't know if anybody who has Sling TV is counted in the Nielsen ratings. So
that's the thing. Moving on to number 3 and a very, very good one. This week on Impact Wrestling, Frankie Kazarian returned to Impact Wrestling to attack the Elite. How big of a deal is this? And do we see more former Impact stars on the level of Frankie Kazarian, more TNA originals from AEW making appearances back in Impact Wrestling now the dynamic has changed?
So this actually plays into something I wanted to touch on in the second one, and I kind of spaced out. But we are at the point of where, with fans in attendance, I think we're at the point of where TNA was around 2006 or so, right? Where we got a small TV deal, but we got a niche group of people that love us. We have some old stars, we have some new stars, a lot of new stars. People are taking our stars and not doing anything with them. It just feels like we're coming full circle. So the time for us to grow is coming, but I think we're back to a place which is where, for you newer heads, it's where ROH was when they had the New Japan deal. Bullet Club was there. I mean, they still do, but the Bullet Club was prevalent there. They were banking on them. That's where I feel like we're at. We're not at that step yet where we're going to have a joint pay-per-view or anything, but we're getting there. So we're not at a bad place. Let's remember that. And we're not talking down whatsoever. We can obviously grow in time, but we are at where TNA was in 2006. We're ready for that big signing, the big investment, and also with the right management finally. So that's a point to break. But going into the Kazarian thing, it makes complete sense that we're coming full circle and Kazarian shows up. It would make even more sense if Suicide's unmasked and it's Christopher Daniels under there. There's a lot of things that can happen on the road to Bound for Glory, as we're going to talk about, that just really excite the hell out of our fan base. Because, a Kazarian to us is the same, if not more, than it is to the AEW fan. So not only does the AEW fan think, oh shit, man, Kazarian's over there, I got to catch that. That's cool. But then us who are, chanting, and you'll see his next, this coming week, welcome back chants, or welcome home, excuse me, and he says, this is my house, this is my house. So there's still that older fan base, or the fan that now have children, wow, it's crazy, that watch Impact Plus and say, oh shit, man, Kazarian was there, AJ was there, Daniels was there, Jerry Lynn that has been back, you know what I mean? So there's these people that aren't going to be sought after, well, I mean, maybe AJ, but not sought after by other companies trying to lock them down, per se, to when they come and show up in the Impact Zone, it's a big deal. So I could see a lot more. Shelley's on his way back. So Motor City, I really still believe we get AMW at Bound for Glory, I guess, is when it's going to come. I mean, that's a guess. I don't know, but the short answer is I think we'll see a lot more of this. How big of a deal was, it plays off a lot of things, including the partnership. Kazarian coming through the crowd and taking his, I mean, we were right there. We had no clue it was going to happen. We had no clue he was there. And holy shit, man, if they could get crowds back for this. Now I'm kind of nervous because of where our world's headed again. But if they have fans at Bound for Glory and at these next set of tapings, which I'm still debating on going to, it's going to be good. And from what I hear, this next set of tapings, if you haven't bought your tickets, think about it, because a lot of surprises supposedly coming up.
Nice.
So, I mean, I think the Kazarian thing is awesome for multiple reasons. One, it's great to see him back. It's fun to see a lot of these older Impact guys come back and kind of get that, even if they're not going to do like re-sign in full runs, just maybe a last little final run or last little storyline in Impact. I think that's great for the company. And it's great for those guys. I mean, they made their name here. Even though they may have left because of the situation, they still have, a part of that, a part of the company is, the company and them are a part of each other. They built each other up. But another reason why I like it is because it's more of, I mean, the forbidden door, but all these storylines crossing over from company to company. So you've got, he's there because of stuff that happened on AEW, and Kenny's on Impact. I'm going to go to Impact and fuck up Kenny Omega. Like, it's stuff like that I like, because it really does make you wonder, like, I've got to watch. I've got to watch Impact, but now I've got to watch AEW, because is there going to be something that happens there? So I just think it's great for the wrestling business. It draws more eyes. It makes things so much more interesting, because like storylines can, like, everybody talks about long-term booking. This is a way to like drag out or like really book storylines well by having things cross over. So I think it's a great thing for Impact. I really do hope. I would love for Daniels to come back as Suicide, or maybe as Curry Man. That would be funny. Unfortunately, with AJ, I'm not sure how long his WWE contract is. Who knows with the way they're firing people? He may be gone next week. But it would be really nice to see some of these older Impact guys come back. Even not older, like I would love to see LAX or Santana Ortiz just come back for a short run. Just some of these guys who are doing things that I think it would be that this is opening up the possibility, and I think it really makes me excited.
The key term there. It opens up the possibility, and that's all you need. That door is creeped open for these guys in the perfect storm, for what you alluded to earlier as well. Eventually, these guys that went elsewhere, and as I was saying with the original TNA, Killings, who else? Kazarian. There was Chris Harris. There were people that left because the getting was good. People were taking notice on Impact or TNA at the time, taking our guys. Then they're like, we don't know what to do with them, or this isn't what they wanted, and they asked for the release or leave or whatever may be the situation. So there's going to come that time when LAX says, damn, man, I look back on it. Where did I get my start, man? Who took care of it? They're going to have to come back at some point. If not for, partnership purposes than maybe on their own volition that they want to do something for Impact and raise their stock as well again. But.
Right. Yeah, it's nice having Impact in the center of something and different stuff branching off it. Yep. It's great to see. So moving on to number 4. Jeff Jarrett reportedly released from WWE, but also now apparently not released by WWE. Who knows? But if it is true, how would you feel about Hell freezing over once again and Jeff Jarrett returned to the Impact Zone? Max?
I'm torn. He obviously started the company. I think that he was such a large part of the company's beginning that you have to be thankful for that. But there's also the stuff when what was the name of his company?
GFW,
I keep wanting to call it ML GFW. Thank you. I mean, that to me wasn't really a high point in Impact. And I kind of feel like some of that was issues with him. I mean, I guess I'd like to have him come similar to Kazarian, I guess, come back for maybe a short run, a small program. But I don't want him back permanently with Impact. I think we've turned that corner. And you just can't keep. There's certain things you can look in the rearview mirror for. He's not one of them. Similar to Dixie. Dixie wants to come back and be powerbombed through a table by Don Callis. Awesome. That would be a great storyline. But I don't want her to become like a regular
That's
on the show.
Fair. I see it a little different because, well, definitely different with Dixie to him. I get what you're saying, and the point is, and he's obviously in his 50s, so wrestling isn't really. It's kind of in the rear view. But could he do a match here or there? Maybe. I don't know. But for me, it's a little different. Obviously, when he was with the company in the beginning, obviously excited because he's Jeff Jarrett from WCW. But then after that, annoyed because he's always the champion and whatever. And Christian got scared away because of him. But then at the same time, Christian came to his company. So there's a lot of positive and negatives that you could look at with anyone in that is in charge of a company or is a talent in front of the screen. So from all angles, he was a big part of it. And for that, we don't know if we want to bet. You know what I mean? So it's a hard line. But do I want him running the company? No. Was the GFW stuff the drizzling shits? I think so. Do I think he knows what he's doing now? And good for him. He's sober and has the show with what's his name? Come on, man. Conrad Thompson, which is really good. My World. And he even on there he mentions he watches Impact. So that's another thing we have to point out. Everyone who says, well, he was just sued them. That's true. He sued them just like Scarlett Johansson suing Disney right now for the purpose of money. It's business. They owed him something, or that he thought they did. They deleted it. Whatever you could look it up. The point was it was over business. It wasn't personal. And I don't know if it got personal. Obviously, he still talks to Scott. That's what Scott said recently. And he talked pleasant about Impact and his time there for the most part on his show. So the door's open. I want to get past that. If he's still with WWE, I know he was doing live events. They moved him there, but obviously not needed right now. So I don't know if he's with them. Whatever the stance, it's something easily he could get out of. But do I want him to make an appearance? I do. I really do. Because I think that brings back the TNA fan, because that TNA fan is still obviously somewhere hiding, listening to that podcast. It's the number one wrestling podcast in the world now, which is pretty damn good for someone that everyone thinks is a snooze fest. And even Conrad said, he's like, man, you were instant fast forward material or whatever, instant fast forward when you would come on my TV back in the day. And honestly, I think he became that for some people. And then with the GFW stuff and the unfortunate drunken incident in AAA and all that, and then the lawsuit, it just one thing after another, right? So if we could say bygones are,
I mean, I was just going to say, in 2018, Jarrett was over here at convention. So was Impact, Scott D'Amore and Ed Nordholm, and I saw them at a bar together. They were just chatting, having a laugh.
Okay.
They were on good terms.
So there you go. From the mouth of a actual ISAT. And that's why I think it's possible. Like I said, that confirms Scott and him being cool and that it was just business and it is what it is. You could drink about it later, and they've all, well, I don't know about Ed, but or who'd you say was there? Ed, yeah, Ed was there. I don't know about him, but obviously Don and Scott and Geoff have grown up in the business. So, yeah. Anyways, you know what? I'm all for it. It depends, once again, just like Max saying, it depends on what you're doing with him. I would love for him to come in and just smash a guitar over Don's head or something, and just what the hell? Everyone would just blow up, right? But one thing I want to mention, he's already a Hall of Famer, so it doesn't go back. But I do want to go back to number 3 really quick, because we're going to talk about the road to Bound for Glory, and kind of, it's just going to be an open forum, really, discussion for us. Hall of Fame ceremony. We're talking about Jeff Jarrett coming back, and he's already Hall of Fame member. Kazarian, do we see him as a Hall of Fame member? Is that who we think could be it? Or is there someone else out there that we really think is going to come back and Bound for Glory?
I feel like if you're going to put Kazarian in, you also put Christopher Daniels in at the same time. Because to me, I love Bad Influence. To me was, I don't know if I'd call, at least the highlight for Kazarian. I don't know about the highlight for Daniels. I love Fallen Angel. But it was definitely the highlight for Kazarian. So I think putting them in together would work. I mean, I think that's
Christian.
A possibility. Christian, I think Christian's a good
I think it
possibility
makes
as well.
sense. Who else? They've been kind of alluding. A lot of Mick Foley recently. A lot of Angle references, but he's obviously already in there. So the door is open, and the possibility for return. Obviously, Angle said he has a soft spot for TNA, and even though he offered it to him, he just can't wrestle, so he wasn't going to take it. I don't believe anything Angle ever says. He's a good worker, in and out of the ring. So we'll see on that. But with the road to Bound for Glory, you know, obviously the Hall of Fame comes in question of who it could be. I'm leaning towards Christian. I'm not a big fan of when active wrestlers get in there, but it makes sense if the page is turned.
Think someone like Kong?
Someone who is either debatable retired or on the verge or just hasn't officially said it.
Yeah, because there's only one knockout in the
Gale.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Maybe the beautiful people?
It has to be a knockout this year. It has to be. I think Mickey James. I think the towards more to
That's
Mickey.
a good one. So for Mickey or Christian or both, we don't know, but either way, that's going to be something cool to look forward to Bound for Glory. I know we're talking about Jeff Jarrett and kind of TNA guys, and we mentioned Bray Wyatt as well, but the road to Bound for Glory in general is something that we can sit here and say we know what's going to happen, or predict or whatever. We don't know if who will be with the company, who's coming in, what the partnerships look like, what do all those logos mean? Is it the 2-day event possible that still comes?
I still think it is. Unfortunately, I think that Tony was going to announce it on Dynamite. He saw our episode and was like, I can't let this guy upstage me. I saw Tim Tebow when we were at Nashville. He was there as well. So I think Tebow might have heard me talking about my idea and related to Tony's dad. And so
that's true.
It's all Tim's fault.
I hope not.
You don't want it to be a 2-day event?
No, especially for the international
fans. Fair.
WrestleMania killed me.
I mean, so here's the thing. WrestleMania being a 2-day event is amazing. I remember watching it. I'm pretty sure when Kofi won? That I think I was watching it with you, Geoff, and it started at like 4:00. And we were on the phone, and it went until like 1 a.m. Like, it was exhausting.
Oh, I feel like that was the Royal Rumble. Maybe. It was WrestleMania? I don't know.
Yeah, I know we were talking on the phone about it, but I mean, it was so, like, it became so big and so long that having it for 2 days it's easy. It's like to me, I think a 2-day event is better because you don't have to feel like you have to squeeze
Well, to be
everything
fair,
into one night.
we think it would be possibly an AEW show on the second night. And also, I don't like the 2-day event if it was just Impact. I'll be honest with that. Because it diminishes. I don't like you were on this only the first day, you're not the second. I don't want any of that bullshit. I would like just one solid banging pay-per-view.
Oh no, well, I do agree with that. If it's just Impact, I think making it one day. But if you're doing a multi-show, multi-company like event, I think making it like sure, like Bound for Glory can have people from every company. But if you're really going to say, hey, all these companies are coming together to put on an event, I think a Bound for Glory Saturday, AEW whatever Sunday is a good one. I am concerned. I was talking to you, Geoff, with CM Punk or Bryan Danielson coming in. I'm concerned about will the title change hands at Bound for Glory, because I feel like I thought it was possibly going to be Slammiversary until they announced Sammy, but I felt like Bound for Glory is the show that Impact kind of gets back its title. And with Hangman no longer being the number one contender, I don't know if they're going to bring it all out if they're going to make that title change. And if they don't, it makes me wonder, are we actually going to see a title change at Bound for Glory? And that kind of concerns me.
You think that... Oh, correct, you want to...
I say what concerns me about the possibility of a 2-day show, especially if it is interpromotional, it can't feel like they're just having a match for the sake of a match, like dream match, like like Sammy Guevara and whoever, like Crazy Steve, just for the sake of having it. Like storylines need to be played into it and not Battle 2014.
I agree. I don't think they would do that. I think they would build up storylines. AEW is very good at building storylines, as is Impact. So I don't think you would just see them be like, hey, let's just have them. Like, I don't think you would. I think they would use a 6-week build-up.
Well, it's also
to build stuff.
Remember that 2014 horror show of Bound for Glory that almost didn't happen. The quality of the wrestler there compared to the quality of the New Japan or AEW wrestler that would be thrown together are a little bit different. So they more are dream matches. At the same time, they could work in the sense of, it's a AEW versus Impact match, and they just throw out
the Lucha.
I'm fine with that. Other than that, though, yes, I agree with you. Unless there's a purpose, a cup, a belt, a something, I would prefer them to make sure there's storylines attached. But I'm sure there'll be some fill-ins, but I'm sure they'll have built-in storylines or something of that. And I don't think that's anything to be fearful of. Maybe, but that's the less of the evils to me. All I'm really hoping for is there's a very simple formula to make Bound for Glory work. Take these tapings. Who gives a shit about... I know what happens or who gets the title shot of Emergence. But take it from there, if that's continuity based, and make them episodes forward all be about Bound for Glory. I'm sick of having thrown together pay-per-views of what it feels like. And yes, I know some things come along, tapings, or this new thing pops up, or this release, or whatever changes your plans, or this person doesn't want to wear a mask, or whatever the fuck it is. But they need to put some effort, for sure, and I give them the benefit of doubt, as I always do, to put Bound for Glory our best foot forward. Because if it is all those matches, and we do have a Hall of Fame thing, and if there's a Bound for Glory series that comes to head there, this could be really big. This could be a really fun show that shows how we feel about Impact, which is that they're the best in the world. The problem being, if fans aren't there in Vegas, I was scared with fans in Vegas being a rough group. what's it going to be like without any, if there isn't? Because Vegas, they just tightened the restrictions. But yet again, that's October.
By October, hopefully they should be more lax. But I don't know what's going on over there. So.
You had mentioned tapings. Do you think Impact ever gets to the point where they're taping more frequently, maybe doing 2 weeks at a time instead of 4, possibly 6?
One would hope. I really hope, because I'm not complaining. Obviously, I didn't go out there and take bumps or dives outside the ring or kendo sticks to the forehead. So I don't want to make it seem like it was a trial and tribulation, but 2 tapings in one day is a lot for the fans, especially if they're repeat fans, to do like this August one, 3 days. If it's the same schedule of 3 to 6, 7 to 10, 3 to 6, 7 to 10, 3 to 6, 7 to 10, those motherfuckers are going to be gassed. I would lost my voice after night 1. Now, granted, that was Slammiversary, but that's a lot to do, and to expect out of I understand why they do it, and in the process and the finances to it, the logistics to it, but you need to figure it out, even if it's in a location that is easy for everyone to get to have it every 2 weeks, wherever that may be. Maybe you relocate. Who knows? I hope that's the case. Fresh fans always help, not only for the audience watching at home, but the wrestlers as well, and the fans themselves.
I think 2 weeks would be a good one. It also allows you, if something happens to a wrestler, it allows you to make changes on the fly. Like, imagine if, let's just say, hypothetically, in these next series of tapings, you have a storyline planned out. You type everything, boom, this is going for Bound for Glory. And then the guy's walking down the stairs with his cat and falls down and sprains his knee and can't run. And you're like, oh, crap, we've got all this stuff filmed and now he's out. Whereas if you're filming more regularly, it gives them the ability to say, hey, something happened. Let's get in here and make some changes.
At the same time, seeing how they now film these and how much magic goes into post-production and backstage segments and timing all of it and putting it, they could probably make anything work. So I think it's true. Yes, that is a big concern, but definitely more so. It's just the you don't want it to get stale, especially heading into Bound for Glory, or even after, because the momentum's going to be high. If any of the things we think can happen will happen. I still see Bullet Club versus the Super Elite. Still see Kenny defending against whoever our person that we deem to be our savior, to be Brian Kendrick, I guess. It's the savior of the X Division. Either way, it's going to be a great pay-per-view. Hall of Fame is going to be there, or, obviously someone inducted. So that's always a cool, different vibe to it. It's just Bound for Glory. This is the opportunity for us to make Bound for Glory our WrestleMania again. Because it slipped. It's definitely slipped since 2014. And they've made strides to make it better, but some always outshine it. Slammiversary tends to do so. But we'll see. Well, we're about to hit the hour mark, and I think it's a good place to stop and let you guys have the rest of the night to do whatever, probably sleep. But I hope you enjoyed our show. I hope you enjoyed Homecoming. It looks like it was a banger. Obviously, in person it was. They'll get to watch it and have more detailed opinions, so it'll be really cool. Next episode, we'll have a lot for you. And, of course, we'll get back to doing our nonsense and games. As always, please like, subscribe, all that Jimmy Jam. I'll kick it to Craig for that, as he does that wonderfully. And we'll say goodnight after that. Craig.
Yeah, of course. Just follow us here, follow us there, follow us everywhere. Shout out to the TNAIW fam, of course, because make it so much easier to do this stuff. And just follow us wherever you can. We're around. Follow each of us. You can see all of our social media handles on the screen. I guess we'll see you for some more nonsense next week.
Yeah, So yeah, if I'll do what Craig said, like, subscribe, hit the button, hit all the buttons, help us move forward. We got some really fun things coming up, but like I said, we're in phase 1, getting this show tidied up before we start another show that we're going to be doing that we keep talking about and haven't done yet, Craig, in State of Impact. We'll have some more talking points coming up, and then we'll be venturing out a little bit. We'll see what happens in phase 2. So, and then unboxing. I got all my pins in, so we'll have another unboxing coming up soon, and new power rankings as well. So, great time for you guys to join us. We thank you. Yeah, definitely thank you for watching this, even if it is just to come back and be immature and put a thumbs down. I know where you are. Enjoy. I hope you enjoyed it. As we always say here, we are pro wrestling. So we hope AEW succeeds. We hope WWE succeeds. We just hope a little more that Impact succeeds. But that's all. All the rest is common denominator here. So if you're a fan of wrestling in general, feel free to stick with us and voice your opinions when we do this live. When we'll be like next week, we'll be back live Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And our chat group will be lighting up this blank white spot that makes me want to tear up. So on to next week. Max, you got anything?
Yeah, WWE's not wrestling; it's sports entertainment.
Excuse me.
It'd be
right. Sorry.
So.
But anyways, yeah, no. Thank you again, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. For Craig, for Max, for Geoff. Happy homecoming. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Later.